Welcome back. Let's jump right in. Today's explainer is all about untangling a deeply personal, kind of complex topic, the echoes of emotionally immature parenting in adulthood. If you've ever felt totally stuck in a loop with your own relationships, or maybe wondered why certain behaviors trigger these massive, intense reactions in you, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to look closely at 3 very specific childhood signs that honestly heavily dictate our adult lives.
So think about this for a second. Why do some relationship patterns feel so incredibly familiar, yet impossibly hard to break? It's a heavy question, isn't it? A lot of us find ourselves repeating the exact same cycles, having literally the same arguments over and over, or feeling these same unexplainable anxieties. Okay, let's dive into this because the sources we're exploring today pinpoint exactly how growing up around emotional immaturity basically wires our brains for these repetitive cycles.
Sign 1, role reversal. So, what happens when the natural order of a household is just completely flipped upside down? Well, the child is forced to step up. You end up managing their emotions before you even learn to manage your own. And this right here, this is the heavy, invisible burden of parentification. You didn't take on this protective role because it was fun, right? You did it out of strict necessity. I mean, imagine being a young kid just trying to figure out how the world works. And instead, you have to be the emotional anchor for the actual adults in the room. It's like having to talk a parent down from a tantrum just so the house could have a little bit of peace.
And because of that, you develop these hyper-specific survival tactics. They aren't just quirky personality traits. You learned exactly when to stay quiet. You learned exactly when to jump in and fix things to keep the peace. And maybe most importantly, you learned when to just disappear entirely. You know, like tiptoeing around the kitchen just so a parent wouldn't sigh heavily or suddenly direct all their frustration at you. You developed these hyper-vigilant tactics for one reason, just to manage the totally unpredictable emotions of the adults around you.
Moving on to sign 2, inconvenient feelings. When the adults in your life are emotionally immature, there just isn't room for a child's natural feelings. The whole dynamic is deeply unfair. Think about it. If you were crying, you were probably just told to stop. If you showed anger, you were actively punished for it. Normal, completely healthy human feelings were met with this immediate shutdown. Basically, your emotions were treated as a huge inconvenience to the adults, rather than, a normal, absolutely necessary part of your development as a human being. And that leads us to a pretty devastating realization. The safest emotion was no emotion at all. Take a second to just let the crushing gravity of that sink in. When every single emotional reaction you have is met with frustration or punishment, you learn to just shut the whole system down. Long-term emotional suppression becomes your default setting, simply because being numb was literally the only way to stay out of trouble. All right, sign 3, missing conflict repair. Listen, if you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this one. Emotionally immature parents do not apologize. They absolutely will not sit with being wrong. And I want you to think about the profound generational impact of that reality. If the adults in the room absolutely refuse to ever admit fault, the child never, ever learns what emotional repair actually looks like. You never get to see 2 people disagree, talk it out, sincerely apologize, and then actually move forward together. Instead, think about how conflict actually ended in your house growing up. Was it endless silence? Was it this cold, freezing distance? Or was it you simply giving in first, just to make the unbearable tension finally go away? You were completely denied the chance to practice safe, healthy conflict resolution. So you grew up believing that disagreements don't end with understanding, they just end with withdrawal. Which brings us to the adult echoes, the silent threat. This is exactly where the past dictates the present. Because of those foundational childhood wounds, your emotional threat detection system is, it's completely inverted today. Healthy conflict actually feels threatening, while toxic silence, that feels familiar. When a partner tries to have an open, honest disagreement with you, your nervous system just panics because you never got to practice it safely. But that toxic, distant silence, that feels like home. It's totally unhealthy, sure, but it is what your brain knows best. Section 4, breaking the familiar patterns. Now, we aren't here just to point fingers. This is really an empowering moment of self-awareness, because this isn't about blaming your parents forever. It is about finally understanding why certain relationship patterns feel so familiar and so incredibly hard to break. And this newfound understanding, this is your key. Because once you see the pattern, once you realize exactly why your brain reacts the way it does to conflict or strong emotion, you finally have the power to break those toxic cycles. You can actually choose a new response. So I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. We talked about role reversal and managing adult emotions. We talked about the suppression of inconvenient feelings. And we talked about that crucial missing piece of conflict repair. So, which one of these three hit closest to home for you? Take some time to really analyze your own patterns. Recognizing exactly where these echoes come from is the very first step in choosing where you go next. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep asking the tough questions.